Peace 107.5 FM, the air of success.
We are in the 5 o'clock hour, and if it's 5 o'clock, it's hard copy. Hard copy is a presentation of the McKinney Media Group, copyrights 2016, all rights reserved. The views, statements, and opinions of guests expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, sponsors, or operators of this radio station. No part of this program may be copied or reproduced in full or in part without the express written consent of the producers of the McKinney Media Group. This is Hard Copy on the McKinney Broadcasting Radio Network, and Hard Copy seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. The focus every day to move forthright in our manner to build a progressive and developing country. Our desire is for a Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant visionary action plan, ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians to participate with intelligent and honest contributions. After all, my friends, we have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower. And generations of born and unborn Bahamians, we the people, must protect and plan for. And if not you, then who? And if not now, then when? Today on Hard Copy, a candid conversation with the Secretary General of the Free National Movement, Michael Fowlkes. And guess what? We're talking in a candid fashion today about all and everything, right here on Hard Copy.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, including water pumps, generators, and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them at 242-356-0249.
Whatever target you set for yourself, or however ambitious your plans are, we'll make sure you start with the right training for courses that turn into careers. It all starts with Cybertech Career College. Cybertech Career College now offers internationally accredited professional certifications in legal studies, accounting and financing, office management, human resource development, hospitality management, medical assisting, and a whole lot more. So what are you waiting for? Pick up the phone now and call Cybertech Career College at 322-4223. That's 322-4223, and start on the road to a new career.
Hey everyone, traveling this summer?
Yes!
Shopping?
Yes!
School expenses?
Yes!
Need an easy way to pay for it all?
Yes!
I thought so. Then you love a personal loan or credit card from Commonwealth Bank. Get fast approval on the funds you need with low rates and a $100 bonus. Plus enter to win $5,000. Come to Commonwealth Bank today. See you there?
Yes!
Fantastic.
There are lots of exciting things happening at Sapodilla Restaurant every Tuesday through Thursday. For the month of August, Sapodilla invites you to indulge in a signature 5-course Taste of the Islands menu prepared by Chef Edwin Johnson and his culinary team. Inquire about Sapodilla's birthday club and upcoming signature events. Live the experience. Make your reservations today. 327-2161. Reservations at sapodillabahamas.com.
Making travel plans? Be sure that those plans are hassle-free. BOB's prepaid Visa card can take you around the world. Getting your prepaid Visa card is easy. There are no credit checks. It's accepted at 25 million locations worldwide, and it's safer than carrying cash. Visit any BOB branch to apply for your BOB prepaid Visa card today. BOB, your bank of solutions.
BOB, 25 years and going strong.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Proud Bahamians making good traditional brews in Grand Bahama, then bottling and shipping throughout our islands. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family of beers and beverages. Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Sands Pink Rattler, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
What's in your favorite aisle at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets? Is it salty or sweet, frozen or fresh, vegetables, fruits? It doesn't matter. Each aisle is the home to weekly specials like Libby's Whole Kernel Corn or Sliced Beets, the 15-ounce can at $1.29. Save $2 on the 30-ounce jar of Hellmann's Light Mayonnaise at $3.99. Pampa Lemon Juice, the 32-ounce size, 2 for $3. Pork chop ants at $1.69 per pound. Extra large Persian limes, 5 for 99 cents. Savings on every aisle. That's Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Executive Printers. We're professionals. At Executive Printers, we do not participate in trash talk. We concern ourselves with the accuracy and security of your laser check. That is why we put 15 securities on your laser checks. This is not trash. This is fact. It makes fraud almost impossible. Call us today at Executive Printers at 393-5011 or email us at sales@epbahamas.com. That's sales@epbahamas.com. Executive Printers. Laser checks. We do them right.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? CFAL says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. CFAL can get you started. Visit cfal.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. CFAL. Seize your future.
Steve McKinney, live. Drive Time Talk.
That's one of the nice things about the Bahamas. Everybody's got an opinion and is free to express it.
In regard to the economy, and you talk about the lousy economy, yes, the economy worldwide is not doing that well, but we also have a hopeful people who are looking with great expectation for many things to happen in this country for them. The government is fully aware of the problem. We have a mandate from our Prime Minister to do as best we can for and on behalf of the Bahamian people, and every minister is going to do that now.
The Big Show.
It is Thursday, the 11th day of the month of August 2016, as you battle the congested city streets and drive home traffic. We have sunny skies, 91 right now in the nation's capital. There's a low of 81 and a 20% chance of rain. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy, and we're brought to you today by Bahamian Brewery and Beverages, Cybertech Community College, Commonwealth Bank, Ministry of Tourism, Kalina Insurance for comprehensive coverage, Super Wash with many locations, Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, Advantage Insurance and Brokers, Ron's Electric Motors, Sky Bahamas, CFAL, Executive Printers, Henry F. Store, Buddy's Wings and Greens, Janae's Fashions for Back to School, and McKinney Media Group. Well, today on the show, we're going to have Michael Folks. 325-023546, 325-024243, 325-025253. You can get us on the cable top box at 970. Follow us on the World Wide Web at peace1075.com and on TuneIn Radio. iPad, iPhone, any Android, you'll get us. And of course, you can also follow us on Facebook, Hard Copy, and on Twitter, Hard Copy Bahamas. Did I say that you can get us at 376-9234? Yeah, that's our WhatsApp number. You can get us on that as well. Michael Folks, my friends, and today, as I said, we're going to have him on the show. He is the Secretary General of the Free National Movement and the party's standard bearer for Golden Gates constituency, and Folks means business. That's what they say. He means business in Golden Gates, at least so I've been told. Today on the show, he has many other matters to contend with, especially matters of the state of the party, the Free National Movement. Never before have they been down this road where they yearn for healing after a disastrous convention has left them wounded and limping toward the next general elections. Can the Free National Movement get its act together in a reasonable time frame and ready themselves for the general elections of 2017? That's pretty much that pretty much is the million-dollar question that the FNM must answer before they do anything else. And so today we have to put that million-dollar question to Michael Folks and find out what gives, what's happening, what's the latest, what can we glean from all that has transpired over the last few days.
Well, Mr. McKinney, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on your show today. And I want to say good afternoon to your many, many, many listeners. It's a very popular show. Everywhere I go, people talk about about Steve's show. And so I'm happy to be here today.
Well, I'm happy that you are.
Thank
And
you
I
very
know
much.
that you will do well because you are the kind of fella who everybody says, now he's an honest man, Steve. You can talk to him, find out what he's talking about, and he'll give you the real McCoy. And that's what I'm interested in today because, you know, there are many, many questions, Michael, flowing out there. Many questions about what's going to happen with the party. Is the party viable? You know, should they support the party? All kinds of things. And of course, among those questioning are those who are in opposition. So there are other questions too that says, can Minnis do this job, et cetera, et cetera. I want to just find out from you though, really where the party is as we speak, because a lot of people are very concerned about the Free National Movement. And perhaps there are others who are concerned more than those who we expect to be concerned, if you get my drift. So what are we looking at? What's the plans going forward?
Well, Steve, let me start with the convention. And I think that's the event of late that people remember most. Conventions are always vibrant. They're always exciting. There's a vibrancy. There's a dynamic about them. And we had a hotly contested race for leader. So there are certain
Well,
things.
it started out that way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's certain things that flow from that. And so we had the usual cut and thrust of politics in the convention leading up to our first day. We had a very exciting first and second day. Some may say a little more excitement than they might have wanted. But again, that's, you know, conventions, it's live. It's live, it's on TV, it's in front of everybody, and things happen. But I think, though, and the important message here is that I think we ended well. I think Friday night was a very good night. I think we ended on a very high and positive note on Friday night. I think the leader's speech was very magnanimous. And I think he did a good job of reaching out to Mrs. Loretta Butler Turner. He came right out and said to the whole nation and to the public and to the world at large, in fact, that Mrs. Loretta Butler Turner will be the candidate for Long Island.
Yeah, he said that.
That's really what he said.
Yeah,
he said
that.
she will be the candidate, and the Free National Movement will back her and support her fully. She will be our candidate in Long Island. And, you know, leading up to the convention, Mrs. Butler Turner had made quite a bit of an issue about that as well. Understandably so. She was concerned about whether that would happen, that she would be the candidate. That was a concern of hers. And the leader put that to rest.
Well, you know, I want to talk a lot about that today, but I'm going to do it this way because, you know, this is no easy thing when it comes to all that you would have come through just recently at the FNM convention, looking at the things that plague the party right now and looking at the course of action that your man has to take. And of course, your man being the leader of the Free National Movement, who I know that you support, Dr. Hubert Minnis. I want to find out though from you, Michael, so that we can really get on page and really get into and delve into all of this convention talk and all that stuff that happened and, you know, try to, I suppose, put it behind you in a way. Will your leader See, some things are pressing right now, and one of the things that's pressing is, will your leader attempt to amalgamate the various fringe parties at this particular time, and how will he do this? See, this is what people are concerned about, because right now there are parties here, there, and everywhere, and they want to know, first order of business, all things considered, as to what has happened at the convention, will he attempt to amalgamate the various fringe parties? And basically, how do you suppose that he ought to go about that?
You know, Steve, I'm happy to answer that. But before I go there, I want to finish where I started. And the convention ended on a positive note, in my view. And I think in the view of a lot of FNMs, even though it might have been a bit shaky, rocky throughout. But since the convention, Steve, and this is what I really want to share with you and share with the public, the Free National Movement had a closed door meeting, the hierarchy of the party.
Okay.
And it was very productive. It went very well. And following that meeting, there was a statement by Mrs. Loretta Butler Turner, and says that saying that she supports the party. She supports the party fully. She encouraged her supporters to support the leadership of this party. And it was the beginning of that coming together.
That healing process.
Oh, absolutely. And the beginning of the unity in the public. And that's very important, because the public needs to know, and the public needs to see that we are in fact doing the unity thing. Because unity is a verb. It's a doing thing. You have to be doing unity. And I think the things that happened since the Friday night, the meeting we had was a very productive closed door conclave meeting on one day since then. And I think the statement by Loretta Butler Turner, Mrs. Loretta Butler Turner, the call to unity, to use a phrase, the call to unity. And we are feeling very good, in fact.
Now,
we're feeling very good, and we think there's a roadmap. We think there's a roadmap and there's a path to our victory in 2017, and we intend to build on it, Steve.
Now, you talk about the fact that they had this meeting and that everybody came out feeling full of love and all that. Was Nico Grant in this meeting? Was Rollins in this meeting? Were these kinds of people in the meeting who, in fact, some people look upon them with a jaundiced eye? And were they there? And is that a part of the unity that you're seeking going forward?
You know, unity starts in pieces and in places. And the people who were needed to be there at the time were there. People who were needed at the time were there. And it's a building process. It's a building process. And that's what we're engaging. That's what we're doing. And the Bahamian people can feel confident that that's where we're going to end up. We're going to end up with a unified free national movement going into the 2017 general
That's
election.
the ambition.
Oh, that's what we're going to achieve. By the grace of God, that is what we will achieve.
Well, you sound strong. I mean, that's a good thing if that's what it is. You want to go there and make sure that people understand that this is what's going to happen. This is what has to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone seems to be amenable to this as far as this grouping coming back together.
And the reality of it, Steve, is we need everyone. We need everyone. And this dovetails into your second question.
Yeah.
We need everyone. And so it's not only Loretta Butler Turner, but it's Dr. Dwayne Sands and all the other persons, the other parties too. It is very difficult for an opposition party to win against a government when the opposition forces are divided. We are in a best position when all opposition forces
this is elementary.
Are together.
Certainly.
There's no question. And in fact, our history has shown us that, right?
But you know, one of the things that's quite interesting here is that we talk about this opposition party somehow coming together and making it happen in time for the 2017 election. But you know, just recently there were some statements that were made that I played yesterday on the show that I thought that were interesting because we hadn't heard them in full detail while the convention was going on, because we were all busy down at the convention and you all were down there trying to make things happen and all that. And then, of course, there was this statement that was made by Hubert Ingram. Hubert Ingram said something that I played yesterday. I want to play that statement for you today. That something along the lines of Christie being asked to resign. He found fault with that, and there were some things inside that it seemed as if he was basically saying and making inferences that Christie is the best person to be around, and that maybe that is something that the Free National Movement should pay attention to. And then he talked about Christie's base support. I want to just play that for you, not to spark a controversy, but to find out your real, genuine beliefs on what it is that he is saying. Listen to this.
I think it is wrong for people saying that Christie should go, Christie should go. If you want him to go, you vote against him. It's not a big deal. He is not where he is because he put himself there. He got there because people elected him to be there. Clearly, Christie is fully entitled to remain in office to the end of his term. Fully entitled. And he is fully entitled, if he chooses, to offer himself up for re-election as leader of the party, and the party decides to lead the party in the next election. The truth of the matter is, whatever is said about Christie, there's none in the PLP who is more acceptable to the population of the Bahamas than Perry Christie. That's a fact of life. He and I got elected House at the same time in 1977. And so I could also understand, I was able to serve 3 terms as Prime Minister. Why wouldn't Christie want to match that? Oh, why would he? From his point of view. He often talks about what Hubert doing, Hubert here. I won't be surprised when the back of his head sometimes it says, well, Hubert had 3 terms, so why can't I have 3 terms? Are you going to determine whether or not your dislike for one side is so great that you go the other way? But you must remember one thing. The base PLP support in the Bahamas is firm, unyielding, unbending, ain't going nowhere. So the extent to which others have points of view that they want to share between the F&M and this thing and the next thing, etc., carry on. All you're doing is guaranteeing the PLP remain in office. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, now some people got concerned about that because they figured that he was almost like, very flippant, that, doesn't matter one way or another to him if the Free National Movement is there in the money, if they are in the mix, or that, he was really kind of gung-ho that this one is in the bag. And to me, it has that kind of connotation that this one is in the bag. And I wonder just how you felt about that, if in fact you read it that way, or is it that you're reading it another way?
First of all, Steve, let me say, we are very proud of the record of the Right Honorable Hubert Alexander Ingram as a 3-time Prime Minister of the Bahamas and as leader of the Free National Movement. We are very proud of the record of the party under his leadership. And there's no question, in our minds, in the minds of F&Ms, Hubert Alexander Ingram has been the best Prime Minister this country has seen. And no question about it. Absolutely none. And so that is the backdrop upon which I answer the question.
Understood.
There is no question either in my mind that Hubert Ingram gave a lot of truisms. The man was elected, he said. He was elected. And it could be difficult to beat him because we know the story about the stalwart councillors. We all know. We know their process. We know how they elected in that other party. And we know there are hundreds, if not thousands of them, where we in the Free National Movement now only just recently decided to move ours from 60 to 100, which had been for quite some time, for decades, in fact.
They got like 4,000 delegates and you got about 400.
And so all Hubert Ingram was doing was giving a truism. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the cold, hard facts, in other words. And that's all he was doing. As the young people would say, he was dropping it cold. He was dropping it cold. That's what he was doing.
So there's no isms about any kind of ill feeling that it seems as if even if some people got it wrong, that he was basically kind of like almost not too particular. I mean, you're saying that they were just truisms. There's nothing else to that.
I don't think so at all. Hubert Alexander Ingram, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, former prime minister, as far as I'm aware, is FNM.
So do you think
and there's
that-
no question about that.
So
There's
do
no
you,
question
do
about
you
that.
think that he will be inclined to be a part of whatever happens going forward?
Oh,
with FNL?
absolutely.
You think he'll be inclined?
Absolutely. No question. No question.
So there's no problems between himself and Hubert Alexander Minnis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So even if there's a perception of that, all is well.
Absolutely.
And we
That's
shall-
exactly correct.
And we will see this.
We absolutely. We fully expect to see the right former prime minister and right honorable Hubert Alexander Ingram playing a role in our campaign. Of course,
And
we do.
what about that of Loretta Butler Turner? Of course, a lot of people were turned off at what had happened, and we'll get to that. But here again, you're saying to me that have no fear. The Free National Movement is fully intact with players like Hubert Alexander Ingram and players like Loretta Butler Turner, and all of those people will come together to basically make this party a very strong, viable party going into the next election.
That is certainly our anticipation and our expectation. Absolutely. You know why, Steve? Because at the end of the day, Steve, this country needs to be rescued. People are catching hell in this country, Steve, and they're looking to the Free National Movement to deliver them. That's why, Steve, we have to. We don't have a choice in the matter, Steve.
But can the Free National Movement deliver
Yes, we can.
this time around?
Yes, we can. We will, and we must.
So let me go back to my question I asked you earlier then. Your leader is attempting to amalgamate, I suppose, the various fringe parties. How is this going to happen? Is he making any steps toward those kinds of things now? Is this just talk? Because time is of the essence, Mr. Michael Folks. And so we want to know what's happening along those lines as far as your leadership is concerned in trying to amalgamate those who are still in the party but little bruised egos and all that, and plus the new people who in fact may be out there that want to be included or is interested in being included, including the DNA.
Yes, there's no question. There's an element of quote unquote patching things up, mending fences. Yes, there's that element, and that's what we're about, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing in the party, and that's what we're doing throughout all the organs of the party, mending the fences, patching things up. Because, as I said, the convention it's very cut and thrust politics. There's no question about it. This is not an anointing convention where no one challenged the sitting leader, the incumbent leader. Those were not the circumstances. And so, yes, we are patching, mending fences and patching things up and reaching out to persons. Yes, that's what we have to do. And likewise, within the organization and outside the organization. That's correct. Because our best chance as an opposition, globally speaking, and specifically the Free National Movement, because we will contest as the Free National Movement, and we will contest every seat as the Free National Movement.
You said that a couple of times. That means that not as the DNA, but as the Free National Movement.
But we reach out to everyone and encourage them as best we can to do something in unity. For the benefit of the country and for the benefit of the people who are really seeking relief from this government, from the crime, from the unemployment, from the fear of crime that is gripping this nation every day. People can't go home in the evenings like right now and feel safe getting out of their cars, getting in their homes. It is a serious challenge for most persons. Putting food on the table is a challenge. These are the real issues for people. And these are the reasons why we have to do what we have to do.
So now that Dr. Minnis has been, given that go ahead, you are now the leader of this party. Is there something else that needs to happen here? Because it is just not good now to be good enough to be the leader of an organization. And there are all these different factions that are happening in the organization. And there are people who are absolutely concerned about this, that we don't know really how bruised those egos are and what kind of work is ahead for the Free National Movement within its own party structure.
Well, there's some work to be done. There's some work to be done. There's no question. There's some work to be done. And that work is being done. That work is being, and that's, I keep going back to Friday night. I think Friday night was a good beginning and a very good start on behalf of the leader. I think his olive branch, to use the phrase, and extending it to Mrs. Loretta Butler Turner, I think he speaking very openly and in a very proud way about the Right Honorable Hubert Alexander Ingram in his speech on Friday night as well. And you know, let's not forget, Dr. Dwayne Sands also came to the hall on Friday night.
Dr. Dwayne Sands.
He sure did. He came to the hall on Friday night, in spite of everything. And we were very pleased to see that. You might recall that I was at the podium at the time when he came in. And as I said, you know, let's give him a warm welcome. We are one family. We are one FNM at the end of the day. And that's what we are. We are one FNM.
Menace extended the olive branch to Loretta Sands, and I wonder, as I play this soundbite, if that's good move, bad move. Let me just let you hear the soundbite. Him extending the olive branch.
Politics have been laid bare for all the world to see, and it's not been pretty. But through it all, we have maintained our integrity. In this spirit, tonight we offer the olive branch once again to our sister and brother, Loretta Butler Turner, who I'm certain will be our candidate in Long Island with my full support. And Dwayne Sands, my medical colleague and political colleague. We've worked close together in hospital, and I must say that on many occasions, when I had run into surgical difficulty in areas that are outside my domain, Sands was there for me. Thank you.
Now, of course, he says Sands was there for him. I suppose Sands will be there for him on many other occasions. But your thoughts about that? Good move, bad move. People are talking, and they think that they're not so sure that that was the best move that would have been made at that particular time. But now, with the hindsight information that you have, now looking at all the things that are now coming together, your thoughts about the olive branch?
Frankly, I thought it was a good move then. I thought it was a good move since, and I think it's a good move today. I always thought it was a good move. I always thought it was, because any convention that's contested, you have a certain vibrancy within it, and certain things come out of it as a result. And so there needs to be an olive branch. You know, we saw that recently, even in the conventions in
United States,
our neighbors to the north. Exactly. We saw the national conventions over there, and they had very bruising primaries. Absolutely. Yeah, but yet still, you know, they too had to do the olive branch thing. And so that's part of the process. And I think the leader did a good job at it. And I think he was sincere. And I think he was genuine. He meant what he said.
And so when you say he meant what he said, now there's a number of things that's going through our minds here, and that is that but this is a two-way street. And then we still saw at the end of the day a kind of like well, they're just doing that to buy me out, that kind of stuff. Not that I want to bring that up. I want to be able to get this thing clear for the picture of the Bahamian public, because the Bahamian public, Mr. Folks, they are the ones who are watching the Free National Movement. And I don't know how much impressed they are, because it's been kind of smooth over, like, let's don't talk about that. Let's just keep that somewhere in the corner. And we are together, and that's all there is to it. And really, if you're together, do you think that people are feeling that?
Well, as regards the specific comment, as I indicated, there's some dynamics that happen in a convention. There's some vibrancy in a hotly contested race. Sometimes there are some perceptions, whether real or imagined. And so those things happen in a convention. They certainly happen. In fact, we see some things happening right now in the convention that is 3 months away. We see things happening already. and hasn't really gotten started yet. But yeah, but apparently it has gotten started.
But you've never
So-
seen this kind of vitriol in the Free National Movement. And I know that you're somewhat of a historian because your father, of course, is one who would have been keeping the record for many, many years on what happens in the Free National Movement. But have we ever seen this level of what some would call bitterness that happened last week, and that what was called a meltdown? Have we ever seen this level? I mean, I know that you perhaps can get beyond it, but have we ever seen it at this particular point where it almost looks as if it's not easily fixed? And you see, this is a big perception out there. I must warn you, the public perception out there on the Free National Movement is that they joking, they have not gotten it together, they are there's a big disconnect, they are not fully where they're supposed to be, and that does not spell a good picture for them at the end of the day. It looks as if the people have difficulties accepting that this is the Free National Movement of Cecil Wallace Whitfield, and in fact of your father, Sir Arthur Folkes and whatnot. So how do you get around that to really make people believe and feel as if there is more to this than, I mean, I suppose that you are actually together, and I suppose that's the best way I can put it, that you are actually together, and this is no just kind of like you're just kind of sweeping it aside as if it's no major issue, because I want you to know that it is a major issue if people have that perception that you're not together.
No, that is true. If that is the case, but I go back, Mr. McKinney, to the statement released by Mrs. Loretta Butler Turner, and I take her at her word, and I think we all could and should. And she was very clear in her statement, where she encouraged her delegates to support the party, support the leadership. She said some other things in her statement where she reached out clearly, extending the same olive branch, so to speak, or returning the olive branch. And these are the things that make for mending fences. These are the things that make for patching things up. You know, it's like a relationship. You know, you go through a little rough little patch, and then you really got to go out of your way to try fix it up.
Talking about a relationship.
To try patch it up. You know?
Talking about a relationship.
And so it might be a little fragile for a little while, but then you have to build on it, right? And you build on what you say and what you do. And that's what we're doing. That's the work that we're doing now.
Talking about a relationship, we know that there's a divide in the FNMs who would have supported the Loretta Butler grouping, and those who would have been the moneyed people, so to speak, who helped to pull the convention off. What's the picture here? What's the story here? Because, you know, they were going into that convention talking about how they won't really be able to, you know, put their real support, that moneyed support behind Dr. Minnis. And we see now that it seems like the Free National Movement is really trying their best to not make these guys uncomfortable and unhappy, because maybe they need the money from those persons who have the money to support the party. And so they are doing everything possible to just say, well, we extended the olive branch and all that kind of stuff. But really, we don't know yet really if the people on the other side, those other people who in fact have been big supporters of the Free National Movement, feel comfortable and are willing to cast in their lot with this particular group and even support Minnis in this particular group. What do you say to that?
You know, Steve, I'll share with you something about our Constitution. In our Constitution, under the purpose for the organization, item 1, the number 1 item listed, 1, says to win elections. That's why. That's my answer. We are members, all the people you talk about, the ones on either side of the divide you just described. I don't necessarily say I accept that, but that's what you have posited.
No, that's what people
yes,
people are
yes,
seeing. They
yes.
ask that question every
Yes.
day, and I can tell you, I sit here
Yes.
and I know what they're asking, and that is one of the questions that they're asking. How is it that all of a sudden that everything is going to be all beautiful and sweet and rosy when in fact these people did not support ministers going into that election, and they had somebody else? It fell apart. What they had, it fell apart. It fell flat on the face. But yet we are now saying here in the body politic of the Free National Movement that no, everything is going to be okay. It's a smooth road, not to worry. We've got it all together. And I don't know if the Bahamian public will buy that, my friend.
What I'm saying to you, what I'm suggesting to you and to your listeners is that we in the Free National Movement, at the end of the day, want to win the election in 2017 to rescue the Bahamian people from this inept and corrupt Progressive Liberal Party government. And we are all committed to that.
Understood.
Everybody is. There's no question in the organization, despite or in spite of
that's the common ground. Everybody feel that common ground.
Precisely.
That's the common ground.
And that is the number one in our party constitution, and it always has been. That is why we
beat them, beat the PLP.
Because we believe, Steve, because we believe, and we truly do believe, that we are the best government for the Bahamas any day of the week, any month, and any year. We believe that we do bring good governance to the Bahamas.
Understood.
And we bring transparency and accountability. That is our belief. We believe that. That is our view, and that is what we believe, and that is what we do, and we try our best when we're in government 3 times under the Right Honorable Hubert Alexander Ingram. And we, as I said earlier, we're very proud of our record under his leadership, and we're proud of what we're able to achieve.
How do you respond, Mr. Folks, to the electorate who has been saying in recent times that the Free National Movement and PLP are one and the same, and that they are tired of both of them? That doesn't make your job any easier, does it, in trying to sell the FNM?
It is very clear that the PLP and the FNM are not one and the same. I mean, apart from the fact that everyone always like to talk about the yellow and the red. Let me give you an example. Under the Free National Movement, we brought in the scholarship loan program. That had some challenges with it. The PLP took over the government. They went to government in 2002, and there was talk at the time about bringing that program to an end. And we at the time said, let's not end it, mend it. In other words, fix the problem, but it's a good program. That program continued to have problems, some challenges. When we came back to government, what we did in 2007, between 2007 and 2012, we then started what was called the Scholarship Grant Program, outright free funds given to eligible Bahamian students, Steve. Eligible Bahamian students who had at least a 3.0 at a Bahamian high school, and they were accepted into a university, College of the Bahamas, or university abroad. And this is the point, Steve. Every student who met those requirements, without any regard to PLP, FNM, DNA, or anything, family connection, family name, who you didn't know, who you knew, did not matter. Across the board. If your application came in and you met those criteria, nothing else mattered. And Steve, the students got the grants. They got the grants. We had about 1,600 students when we left the government in 2012. The following year, Steve, it was down to 350, and they were cherry picking. Some got and some didn't. On what basis? That is the difference between the PLP and the Free National Movement.
So it's like night and day here.
We are a government for everybody. We're not the government for a few. We don't govern in that way. We give opportunity to people, and we allow people to take the opportunities and make something out of it for themselves. That's what we do. We empower people, and it's across the board, and it's fair to everyone. Everyone, without fear or favor, fair to everyone. And that is what we did.
So why?
It really did not matter.
So I hear what you're
and
saying.
That's a classical example, I think, of the difference between us and them.
So I hear what you're saying, and I know that there are many distinguishing differences in the the PLP and the FNM in some regards, but in the way that things have been going in recent times, the Bahamian people, and I want you to hear me now, the electorate, the ones who are going to go there and vote.
Yes.
They're saying that they see the FNM and the PLP as basically the same party, different philosophies, I suppose, different ways of doing things, but basically that they're tired. That's the key word. That they're tired of both of them because they don't bring anything fresh and new to the political picture. And I'm saying to you, that is something that you and the leader of the opposition are going to have to deal with. For instance, a lot of people are looking at and saying, they did nothing as far as opposition politics is concerned to bring the kind of notoriety to these many things that plague us. The PLP has been at this worse, and yet there have been not enough programs and plans articulated by the Free National Movement to say what they will do because of this terrible position to government. And so that's one of the reasons why people are thinking that, they're all just alike. And so I need you to focus on that question, because it's not one of me, not my opinion in many regards, but here it is. This is what people are believing, and they're saying that, and that is a monkey on your back, whether you like it or not.
Well, Steve, I can tell you one thing for sure. We didn't bring VAT on the people. We did not put VAT on the backs of the Bahamian people. We did not do that. They like to talk about how we discuss VAT, but we never implemented VAT. They brought VAT, and they put VAT on the backs of the Bahamian people, and they cannot afford it. And the leader has said on numerous occasions that there are certain things we will do as regards VAT. He said that we will remove VAT of medicines. We will remove VAT of electricity. We will remove VAT of breadbasket items. I mean, why have VAT on sugar and cream and rice and flour?
I support those ideas,
where people are struggling to get by on some carnation cream and some tuna and sardine and corned beef. Why we have VAT on those items? Pray tell, why do we have VAT on those items when people are struggling to put food on the table, and we are hitting them with another 7.5% on those items? And talking about BEC, they actually said that they were only going to charge 5% on VAT for BEC, but you check your bill, it's 7.5%.
7.5%.
It sure is, but that's not what we were told. That's not what we were told. And so there's some things that they have done that we did not do. And there's a broader question as to what do we do about revenues? Revenue is an issue. What do we do about revenues? And one of the things we say is that they did not go about the exercise in a comprehensive way. And they've botched that as they botch everything else.
You mean the collection of revenues?
Yes. Collection of revenues on one side, the reduction of expenses on the other side, and the other element to it all is the GDP growth or growth of the economy. Because there is a debt. And that brings us directly to VAT in any event. Because we just learned that they collected 3 times as much as they had budgeted, or they thought they would collect. 600 million. 600 million.
What's to become of that?
Well, the interesting thing is, they told us when they were selling VAT to us, and why we ought to agree to VAT, was that it was going to reduce the debt. And that clearly has not happened.
But see, this is just it.
That clearly has not happened.
Have you all held the PLP to account on these kinds of matters? Because this is a very, very egregious matter before the Bahamian people. People expect, every day they're asking, what they going to do with this VAT money? What y'all saying about VAT? this whole thing too, apart from that, about this whole Junkanoo Carnival thing, there's been no kind of
Precisely,
accountability
Steve. Precisely.
and people are saying we expect the Free National Movement to be able to articulate the position on this and to make noise on this and to sound like a real opposition party on this and to not be letting these guys get any slack cut.
Steve, I have to remind you, I think sometimes we don't always remember some of the things, but never in the history of the Free National Movement, under all of those years when we were in the wilderness, never as an opposition party did we ever vote against the national budget that was brought by Sir Lyndon Pinland and his government for all those years. Never did we. But we did it in the case of VAT.
You voted against it in VAT.
We voted
because you did not want.
Voted against the national budget that was brought by the governing party as an opposition party because we did not agree with VAT. It was a very strong position to take, and we caught some criticism for it. But we stood our ground on it because we believed the position. And that's how strongly we felt about it. But more than that, we voted against the VAT legislation itself when it came.
So that means now that if there was to be any consideration or reconsideration for this whole bit about VAT, this would be off the table.
That is why the leader is firm, and he's be able to say with conviction that the Free National Movement will certainly remove VAT off items that really drive people into poverty, drive people out of the middle class into the poor, and drive the poor further into poverty. Bread basket items should not have a VAT. Electricity ought not have a VAT. Before VAT, we had 7,000 homeowners whose electricity was turned off. I talked about this in the convention. 7,000 before VAT. Before VAT. So what do we expect? We expect fewer? With the 7.5% added to the BEC bills? These are real issues for people. Real issues.
Yeah. Another real issue is the fact that we can get Bahama open.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm wondering, what is the plan? Let's just say the Free National Movement inherits the government. I mean, this is a likely scenario because you're the official opposition. You've got that 40% base, if that 40%, 42, somewhere around there. And you are basically even keel with the governing party. Okay, we'll just split up the votes and share the rest of the 20% somewhere between fringe parties and the rest of it. So more than likely, if you are to get back there in the governance of the Bahamas, what's the articulated plan for the whole idea of that place out west, that atrocity, that place called Bahama that can't seem to launch? What are you sticking close to this? Because I know this has been something very much by the Prime Minister. He's been caretaking this, but what's happening from the Free National Movement's point of view on this whole matter to make sure that at the end of the day, something happens on behalf of the Bahamian people and that $1 billion plus investment that we put down there with property and the rest of it?
Steve, I'm glad you mentioned Bahama because remember, in the first instance, Bahama was supposed to produce 8,000 jobs. Then it was 6,000 jobs. Then it was 4,000 jobs. Eventually, it was 2,000 jobs. And those jobs were lost too after the people got them.
Yes, they did.
And so
send the people home.
They sure did. They sure did. And today, a lot of those people are still trying to find employment. And worse, some of those people left jobs they had, good paying jobs, because they thought they were getting better opportunities. They thought that this was a wonderful thing. They thought this was the new Bahamian Riviera and all those wonderful things.
Yes.
And they left fairly decent jobs for what they thought were great opportunities, as people ought to do, seeking, having ambition and looking to make a better life for themselves and their families. That's what people ought to do. And unfortunately, a lot of people got really stuck in a bind because they left for, in some cases, a fairly decent job for a job they thought was a lot better, and they ended up with nothing. Zero. Zilch. nothing in their hands, which is really unfortunate.
Mhm.
The whole fiasco of Bahama is most unfortunate. Is most unfortunate, and the broader issue with Bahama is the lack of confidence in this government. You see, it's difficult to seek and obtain and cause investment in your country, in our country, when people see what has happened in Bahama. It's quite incredible. It's quite incredible that they had a firm opening date of the 14th of December 2014. A firm date. People had rooms booked. I think there were some stories of people who had weddings booked.
Yes.
And all of this, it is quite
This was
incredible.
quite embarrassing.
It
was
is quite so.
But Christie is still,
Quite so.
but no one is put Christie in any kind of. Christie is still doing what he has to do, and
Mr.
I haven't
McKinney,
heard anybody
Mr. McKinney,
put any
respectfully,
pressure
Mr. McKinney,
on
respectfully,
Mr. Christie. I mean, isn't there some things that
we have been putting a lot of pressure on him about
isn't there
this?
some things that could be done?
But let's be real. Every other month or every couple of weeks, and that may be slight exaggeration, the Right Honorable Prime Minister comes to us, Bahamians, to the public, and always seem to have some good news. And it turns out a week later, there's no good news at all. Really? Mr. McGinney? Really? I mean,
but I expect the Free National Movement to jump all over that. That's just it.
It's been constant.
I expect
and it's
you
been
all
never
to jump
ending.
all
And
over
here we
that.
are. There is no solution to it today. There's absolutely none. There's absolutely none. And frankly, they went to China on the last round and got this glowing letter about how something was going to happen. It didn't say exactly when it was going to happen. There was no date in the letter. There was no date given in the letter. So the Chinese wrote a letter, or the Exim Bank, pardon me, the Exim Bank or officials thereof wrote a letter indicating certain things might happen. But there was no date. Absolutely no date. In our view, it's pie in the sky. It's not serious. And we go from one not serious situation to another one with this present government. And that's just how this country's being run. And it's most unfortunate. And we are all feeling the effects of it.
Indeed.
Because our economy would be better. Our economy would be better. But can you imagine if Bahama did in fact open on the 14th of December 2014? Can you imagine?
Yeah, we wouldn't have had these people breathing down our necks from Moody's and Standards and Poor's and all them people saying that
Precisely.
they're going to give us junk bond status.
And not only the 2,000 workers, presumably they would have needed more of the persons to be hired.
course.
And then you're talking about the spin-off effect and the multiplier effect of those of the salaries of those persons being injected into the economy. Some persons estimated it would have been an additional $100 million or $200 million in GDP. That's quite substantial. That's quite substantial. And who knows how other smaller businesses and watch this now, Steve. Smaller businesses, how they would have fared off of that whole economic base. Because as you know, that is how the economy is. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And right now, small businesses are also catching hell in this country.
Big time.
They sure are.
For more reasons than one.
Well, and that is true. And that is true. And that's another issue we're facing, the inability of small businesses to do better and to expand their businesses, to open new businesses. And that's a major challenge we face. Because as you know, in the United States, it's often said that most of the employment doesn't come from large companies. They come from small to medium-sized companies.
They make things happen.
And that's the one group of businesses and companies that are not growing here.
But listen, Mr. Folks, one of the reasons why small businesses are not doing well is because of a policy by your Free National Movement, a policy that happened with the advancement of the roadworks, which I thought was a necessary thing, but at the same time, perhaps not carefully planned to the point where businesses were kind of like shut down and ran out of business. And so I wonder if when the Free National Movement, if they are to be returned to office, if this is something that you believe that you all would want to tackle to bring a turnabout in even perhaps the way the roads have been laid out, it is not too late, in my opinion. I see a lot of businesses over the hill are still suffering in a big way. And I'm wondering if there's any turnaround that you may want to consider, if this will be a part of your party's platform to look at the reconstruction of the places out south, those places that have really been run down because of the road works that took place and the kind of spin-off from the road work, or the lack of spin-off of the road works that left businesses just failing.
You know, Steve, we always talk about the roadworks, but I want to remind you and remind your listeners this evening that the road work included infrastructure work.
Yes.
That was critical.
Critical infrastructure.
Infrastructure work where there were galvanized pipes, these large, huge
We
galvanized
remember quite
pipes.
well.
No, but let me finish though. I want to finish. Thank you. These galvanized pipes that were under the ground for 40, 50, 60 years, and it caused a lot of homeowners, particularly out in the east, to not get any water at all. And when they got water, it was very little, and it was brown. People had to deal with that for years and years and years. And so it was not only purely road work, it was major infrastructure work
I
to
give you that.
improve
I
the
give you that.
life of a lot of people.
I give you that.
To improve their lives. And in a meaningful way, because people need clean water. You need clean water to have a bath.
Well,
you
listen,
need clean water to do everything.
You don't have any argument for me, but this is what I'm saying.
But let me finish that. Let me finish, Dave. And so there is no question that the roadworks and the infrastructure work was a good thing to have happened. We had some challenges in the road work in terms of how it was rolled out, perhaps how it was managed, perhaps how much we took on all at once, and perhaps how much of the PR we did in terms of telling people certain things.
That is it right there.
But at the end of the day, though, Steve, we are a lot better for the road works today. We are a lot better for the road works today, and people talk all the time. I don't know if they tell you, but they tell me all the time. It's amazing how you can move from one end of the island, the east end to the west end, from Carmichael Road to West Bay Street within minutes. And you know, that also saves businesses time. That saves time, because time on the road saves money. And we know how it is in traffic. Getting caught up, getting from place to place as a business trying to conduct business, it is very costly. And there is a cost factor to moving about. And we diminish that in a major way. And it's just the ease to move around the island. It's so much easier for everyone now. It's amazing. And I hear it all the time. People say, wow, it's really nice. You can move from all the way out east to all the way out west in 10, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
You have no argument for me on that, you know. But here's what my position is, and here's what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
If you have a policy to look at this whole matter again,
yes,
hindsight, you see what had taken place. Businesses shut down, many of them. We cannot ignore that because some people in Vauxhall got water. We appreciate that, and we understand that that was some major infrastructure development that took place. We give you that. We appreciate the fact that, yes, the traffic is flowing freely and is beautiful and all that kind of stuff. We can do with less of the different islands on the road and that kind of stuff, but you know, we understand that these fellows who were bringing this thing here, they're from Argentina, so their way of traffic flow is completely different from our way. But the point is this, that the road works did cause some problems for our people.
That is true.
And we have to go back, and I'm only asking you this question, if you're going to look back at that again and see how it could be as corrected as possible so that the people who had those businesses like Jiffy Quality Cleaners and Super Value and Meat Mart and all those people can find a way to reorganize their businesses and get things back together. I would like to hear that that's a part of what you have.
There's no question, Steve, that there were clearly some downsides and that affected businesses in a major way, in a negative way. There's no question about that, and I accept that. I do accept that. That did, in fact, happen. That's really not an issue. And it was unfortunate, was most unfortunate. Some efforts were made by the government at that time to ameliorate some of that. And we all know all the parties concerned were not necessarily happy with how that perhaps played out,
Mhm.
but some effort was made on behalf of the Free National Movement government to ameliorate some of that. But any infrastructure program or any serious road work going forward, certainly we do have to take the account of the environment, the business environment, in more account in terms of how they might be affected. There's no question of that.
Okay,
There's no question of that.
I accept that. The DNA, Michael Folks got somewhere 13% in the vote in the last general election. Both the FNM and PLP base support is somewhere around 42, 44%, somewhere around there. The FNM cannot afford to gamble on the DNA not being back inside the party this time, because the results could be devastating again this go around. And I want to know, how do you bring remedy to this? How do you avoid this? Because everybody's thinking, listen, man, you all go and get these fellas back in there, because you stand a chance of the PLP getting back in that House of Assembly again because of this divide. How can this divide be bridged? How can you do that? What do you recommend? And the fact that there are other fringe parties out there as well that can kind of like erode the base of opposition politics in the country. And I mean, you know, that's something that people are very concerned about. I want to know if there are some plans by Dr. Minnis, by yourself, by others in the High Council of the Free National Movement to bring about this kind of turnaround.
Well, as I indicated earlier, a united opposition, all of it united, is always in the best position to defeat the government. Because one thing we have learned is that the Bahamian people, if they're going to vote for the opposition, they would really like to see that opposition or those opposition forces united to vote for them. And so it is in the party's interest to do the best it can to unite opposition forces as best it can. And as I indicated earlier, that is something that we'll be working towards. There's no question of that.
But you know, I hear what you're saying, right? You sound so, well, if it happens, it happens. But what I'm saying to you is that you can't afford for it not to happen. And I'm wondering, if you cannot afford for it not to happen, what plans are there? Is there an aggressive plan? Is there an aggressive plan to go and get these fellas who are still hanging out someplace in La 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 and who believe that they can win? Listen, this is a very important thing. This one is for all the marbles, you know. This particular election coming up is going to be the biggest thing that happens this side of the world for some time.
Agree.
All right?
Agree.
Now, the PLP, they are very, very desperate, and they're trying everything. I mean, they have their own internal fights right now that could easily result, by the way, in a meltdown, like how they accuse the FNM of a meltdown. They could easily end up with that kind of a thing if, in fact, this thing is persisting with Alfred Sayers and so forth and so on. But you are looking at a party that has a base that is very, very real, as Hubert Alexander Ingham said. This base is a very real base, and by the time is the elections come around, no matter what happens, you're going to find those persons who are PLP migrating back to their base and now we ready, that kind of stuff. The base of the Free National Movement has been eroded from the time that Granville McCartney pulled out his whatever percentage and went where he went and got now 13% of the vote in the last election. This has got to be a very real thing for the Free National Movement if, in fact, you all are putting everything together and trying to go forward and win the election.
And I'm with you on that. The reality is, it is a process. There's a process. You don't just get there overnight. You have to be talking, first of all. And if you're talking, certain things will flow from that. And so that is part of a process. And what I'm suggesting is that we'll be doing our part to do the best we can to ensure that we get there.
I understand. I appreciate that. Michael, folks, try to be the consummate fella here. Don't ruffle no feathers. Just do your thing and then he's going to be all right. 325-0235 or 325-024-2043, or 325-025-2053. You can call me this afternoon. Let's talk with Michael, folks. Let's talk with him and put some questions to him along the lines of as to what can happen. He's going to be running, by the way, in Golden Gates, and Golden Gates is a tough spot, even if Shane Gibson is not going to be there. But it's going to be a tough spot down there for him to win as well as he goes down there. I want you to line up on the telephone lines and to give me your ear today, and let us see if we can get Michael to tell us a little bit more about some of the plans that they have for the Free National Movement. And as we do that, we're going to also play some sound bites this afternoon in the second half of the show, where Minnis has been saying a whole lot of things. And I want to see if there's support now for Minnis after he's defeated them. They came, he beat them. They came again, he beat them. And now here we are going into another election. And the F&M, by all accounts, in some cases, I suppose, are still in a little bit of shambles. But they can get it together. How well they'll get it together, it remains to be seen. 325-0235 or 6. I want to run to the break, and when I come back here this afternoon, we'll take your calls. You can also get me here on the text numbers this afternoon, 376-9234. That's 376-9234. And we'll talk some more when we come back this evening with Michael Folks.
For the month of August, Sapodilla Restaurant invites you to capture the essence and flavor of the Bahamas in every bite. Indulge in Sapodilla's signature Taste of the Islands 5-course menu, prepared by Executive Chef Edwin Johnson and his award-winning culinary team, Tuesday through Thursday. Enjoy live music, live the experience with family, friends, or the one you love. Book your reservations today, 327-2161. Reservations at sapodillabahamas.com.
In 3 years, I'm expanding my business.
In 5 years, we're building our dream home.
You can speak with confidence when you know you've invested wisely. With superior rates from BOB's B-Dollar Investment Certificate, your money grows according to your schedule to provide extra funds just when you need them.
In 10 years, she's going to college.
B-Dollar Investment Certificate. Sow a little, reap a lot. From BOB, your bank of solutions.
Executive Printers. We're professionals. At Executive Printers, we do not participate in trash talk. We concern ourselves with the accuracy and security of your laser check. That is why we put 15 securities on your laser checks. This is not trash. This is fact. It makes fraud almost impossible. Call us today at Executive Printers at 393-5011 or email us at sales@epbahamas.com. That's sales@epbahamas.com. Executive Printers. Laser checks. We do them right.
So, have you heard the word this summer at Commonwealth Bank? The word is yes. Yes to fast approval on your vacation loan. Yes to back-to-school loans for tuition and more. And yes to MasterCards that you can use for easy international purchases or earning rewards here in the Bahamas. Save with low rates, a $100 bonus, and enter to win $5,000. We're ready to say yes to you.
There are lots of exciting things happening at Sapodilla Restaurants every Tuesday through Thursday. For the month of August, Sapodilla invites you to indulge in a signature 5-course Taste of the Islands menu prepared by Chef Edwin Johnson and his culinary team. Inquire about Sapodilla's birthday club and upcoming signature events. Live the experience. Make your reservations today. 327-2161. Reservations at sapodillabahamas.com.
What's in your favorite aisle at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets? Is it salty or sweet, frozen or fresh, vegetables, fruit? It doesn't matter. Each aisle is the home to weekly specials like Libby's Whole Kernel Corn or Sliced Beets, the 15-ounce can at $1.29. Save $2 on the 30-ounce jar of Hellmann's Light Mayonnaise at $3.99. Pampa Lemon Juice, the 32-ounce size, 2 for $3. Pork chop ants at $1.69 per pound. Extra large Persian limes, 5 for 99 cents. Savings on every aisle. That's Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Whatever target you set for yourself, or however ambitious your plans are, we'll make sure you start with the right training for courses that turn into careers. It all starts with Cybertech Career College. Cybertech Career College now offers internationally accredited professional certifications in legal studies, accounting and financing, office management, human resource development, hospitality management, medical assisting, and a whole lot more. So what are you waiting for? Pick up the phone now and call Cybertech Career College at 322-4223. That's 322-4223, and start on the road to a new career.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? CFAL says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. CFAL can get you started. Visit CFAL.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. CFAL, seize your future.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Proud Bahamians making good traditional brews in Grand Bahama, then bottling and shipping throughout our islands. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family affairs and beverages. Sands, Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Sands Pink Rattler, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, including water pumps, generators, and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them at 242-356-0249.
Thinking about traveling this summer? School expenses? Shopping? Need to pay for it all? Want a loan? Fast? With low rates? A $100 bonus? And a chance at $5,000? Visit Commonwealth Bank. We're ready to say yes.
The best insurance in town is Advantage Insurance on Collins Avenue. They are simply the best because they provide easy, affordable insurance rates for home, car, business, or whatever is valuable or important to you. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, is the fastest, most progressive insurance company in the Bahamas because they really take care of you by making insurance totally affordable. Call them now at 356-0285 or 6, or email them at info@advantagebahamas.com.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? CFAL says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. CFAL can get you started. Visit CFAL.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. CFAL. Seize your future.
I enjoy hard copy. I just love the information. It's informative, relevant, and timely. I love it.
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is Hard Copy. And of course, Michael Folks is on with me here this afternoon. This is the first time that Michael Folks has been on the show. And certainly it won't be his last time, but he has been on the show. Did I say something wrong?
No.
Yeah, he's never been on the show before. And he has come to the show today because there's so many things to talk about. And we've been basically taking a look at where the F&M are on all of this aftermath of the effect of that small hurricane that was in the room that night. And certainly there's no getting away from that. And we've been talking about it. But I've asked you to call me at 325-023546, 325-024243, and 325-025253. And we can talk about those things and more, because the Free National Movement really is trying its best to distance itself from that and move forward and to look at the things as to what they are now. They have to beat the PLP. They believe that they can do it, and some people are not so impressed yet, but maybe with more talking and in due time, people will feel like that in a short time, that maybe the F&M has what it takes. Now, I'm going to go to the telephone lines in just a second here and tell you that we're going to take your calls and have you say what you have to say. But listen to this. Good evening, Steve. That young man is sadly mistaken about the people looking for the F&M to rescue this nation. He needs to specify, because it ain't the F&M. Peter ain't no better than Paul. Steve, the F&M, as the loyal, quiet opposition, did nothing and said nothing for the most part. We are sick and tired of the F&M and the PLP. The water is still off. Sick and tired of them both. How many businesses has been shut down? This person goes on and on about some problems that she has with the Free National Movement. Another one says, remember Steve, Ingram and Christie was only elected as independent MPs because the then opposition did not run a candidate against them. They both owe their political future to the opposition. And so that's what that person is saying. He's making a good point there, I suppose. And so we have some actual bits and pieces coming in from those who are on WhatsApp listening in to us today. This person says, I have not supported them since that time, I suppose. And a lot of those individuals who are looking out at the F&M right now saying that they're not that much impressed. But let's see what the day holds. Let's go to the lines. Hard Copy, how are you? Hard Copy, how are you? Are you there? I don't hear you. Are you there, Hard Copy?
Good evening, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, reconcile you, and good evening to your guests.
Yes.
You know, Mr. McKinney, I listening to the discourse between you and Mr. Folks. And, you know, Mr. Folks, he is doing a fairly good job in presenting the position of the F&M. Now, I am one of those who want to spank the F&M because of the gaps that is being made by the PLP in the past year, especially with regard to Bahama and the way that they are dilly-dallying to the detriment of the Bahamian economy and the Bahamian people not having jobs. This is a Bahamian problem, but this is a PLP problem. This happened under the PLP, under the watch of Perry Gladstone Christie, Prime Minister of the Bahamas. And the F&M is Judy Barr. Now, I support, I'm not an F&M, but I support the re-election or by acclamation of Dr. Minnis, because I think Dr. Minnis was fighting against some very underhand, wicked wakes from, now this is my view, a special interest in the F&M, orchestrated, there again in my view, by the former Prime Minister and his cohorts who set people up to do their bidding. But it backfired. So I believe God had a hand in it, because it could have easily gone the other way, Mr. McKinney.
Understood.
And I believe that the F&M is very, very much needed in this country as the official opposition to really stand up against the things that is going on with regard to the economy and the PLP, because I read in the paper earlier this week in the business section, $600+ million.
Yes,
hit from
we
bonds.
all read it.
And the public debt has increased. It has no accountability, no transparency, and it's the job of the opposition to hop the foot of the government to the fire.
Yeah.
This kind of thing. So they could do a better job in these areas, and I want to see a better job. Now, I'm not writing them off. I voted there for them 92, 97, and 2007. And I voted PLP in 202 and the DNA the last time. I'm a swing voter. But I want to see some greater opposition to the PLP, orchestrated and tactical attacks against Perry Christie and the PLP. All right? Don't let them take you for granted. All right? Do your job as the official opposition and stand up for the Bahamian people. Have a good day, gentlemen.
I appreciate your call. Any thoughts on that?
Well, first I'd like to say thank the gentleman for his comments. And he can expect that what he just described from us. We are really heating up. We are months away. We're no longer years away. We're now 8 months away from a general election, and we are moving to really start, as he say, really keep their feet to the fire, put some pressure on them, and let them know it's time for them to go. It's time for them to go. In fact, it's long been time for them to go.
No question. Hard copy. How are you?
Oh, good evening, my brother Steve. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And good evening to your guest.
Good evening, sir.
Steve, I would like to ask your guest if he can grade the opposition FNM party up to this date and give me a grade between A to F.
Oh, you want my guest to do it? Go ahead. He wants you to grade the F&M, their performance between A and F.
Good evening, caller again. I think, caller, it is perhaps best for the voters to grade the organization as to how well the voters think the organization has been doing. But I can tell you, I think that the organization, as an organization, its members in Parliament, both the House and the Senate, I think they have acquitted themselves quite well. This has been a very difficult period. It's been a very hard period. And I think overall, they have acquitted themselves quite well as a group in the House and in the Senate. I think they've done a pretty good job.
How do you grade them?
Steve, I grade them as F. And,
Okay.
And disagreement with Reconciler just say, Steve, listen, Steve, Reconciler said he's a swing voter, right? I got to get back to basics now. Steve, July 7th, God has written off the PLP and the FNM. I will not deter. I will not fall short. I will not come off the line. God is doing a work here, and he's not mentioning PLP nor the FNM.
You think they've been written off because they were two peas in the pod on the referendum, the gender equality bill?
No, Steve, we can get to the facts. The fact of the matter is, God see what the Progressive Liberal Party and each and every one of his members is doing to his people. People are kneeling down, crying out to God for help. And in the tears, when you cry before God, God considers it as an urgent matter. He is hearing the tears of these people that are crying day and night for life, water, food, the children, the house, the car, everything is gone. Steve, the prophecy for Mr. Rutledge, this country has been sold long time ago, Steve. Steve, we have the facts. This country has been sold, and as Mr. Perry Christie sits in this house and listen to me, Mr. Perry Christie knows just what I am talking about. As far as the Chinese and Bahama are concerned, Steve, the truth is in the open. God has revealed the secret of that nation, and it's dealing with our Prime Minister, Steve. God has revealed the secret with the Chinese and what our Prime Minister has done to his people. That's why God is here now, and he's doing something that's so powerful that will confound the mind of those who are not attached and not making themselves available to him to work with this new movement that he's about to do.
Understood.
But to make, he's forgetting about governing people now. It's about the people making decisions for themselves. It's not going to be any party thing anymore. What God is doing, he's going to go through the people and let the people make choices for themselves. The kings cannot reign over his people anymore.
Understood. All right, let me ask Mr. Folks what he thinks about that, because that is the talk pretty much in the public domain from a lot of people. And I don't know what you call a lot, but some people who call these shows, they are of the view that there's a different dispensation. There's a new day, a new time, and that all these old weapons will fall away. The people who were keeping this country for some time now, that some new things are going to take shape in this place and bring and usher in a new day. Your views?
Hubert Alexander Minnis.
Mm-hmm.
New day. It's a new day. He's spoken about a lot about anti-corruption.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke on anti-corruption, and he said we're going to have comprehensive and wide-sweeping anti-corruption act.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be serious. He's spoken about a whistleblower act. He's spoken seriously about bringing the Freedom of Information Act. Those are new day
So
things.
he's cleaning your house.
Those
That's
are
what you're saying.
those
He's
are
cleaning house.
those are new day things.
Mhm.
Those are clearly new day things,
Mhm.
and those are things he's spoken about on numerous occasions, and he's seriously committed to those things. In terms of the new day things and doing things differently, he's also spoken to how we govern ourselves in terms of a recall for members of parliament,
Mhm.
in terms of a petition for a recall, in terms of legislated two-term maximum for prime ministers. So he definitely has an agenda of new things and a new way of doing things and doing things differently, and a breath of fresh air.
Will we see new faces though? This is something that's quite interesting here now, because a lot of people are looking forward to seeing new faces. I know that when he first became the leader of the Free National Movement, he talked about bringing about a paradigm shift of new people coming into the fold and
Yes.
doing new things into the party. But are we looking to see new faces come out of the Free National Movement at this particular time? All things considered, you've got the fractions, you've got people who had been trying some things, you got new people wanting to come on board. Will we see the kind of new faces with the kind of power punch that can lift the Free National Movement to a point where people may say, well, we're impressed with that. They look ready.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. When you look at but also while we have the new faces, we also need to balance new faces with experience as well.
Mhm.
And so some new faces, some fresh faces, some fresh ideas, new ideas, but we also need to balance it with experience. And so that is the mix that we are hoping to have at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And you
Mix
will
of
see-
new faces
yeah,
and some experience. And does that mean then, Mr. Folks, that you can look to see some others who may have been a part of another administration be in this particular administration with Dr. Minnis, if in fact all things go the way that he plans?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you look at the candidates we have nominated to date, and there's 15 of them, you have someone like a Desmond Bannister, who was a former minister in the prior administration. You have someone like Loretta Butler Turner, who is going to be a candidate for Long Island, and she's a former minister in the former administration. Presumably, the leader would be a candidate in Kalani, and obviously he was a minister in the former administration. And so we will have some of that, and then we're going to have some people who are going to be new to frontline politics. And we have to continue to grow the party and grow the leadership of the party. So we need to have new and fresh faces, fresh people coming into the organization and in leadership positions.
And
No
you
question of that.
think that everybody will fall in line and really get behind Dr. Minnis? I mean, really, because we know what people have been saying and how they have been kind of like right now, distancing themselves. But you think that all in all, once that bell rings, so to speak, it's symbolic of everybody scurrying and scampering to get back to what they're supposed to be doing and fall in line. You think that's going to be the story of the Free National Movement?
Absolutely. As I said on at least one or two occasions here today, we exist as an organization to win general elections, because we believe the only way we can improve the life of others and their lot in life is to be in government to make things happen for them.
Hard copy, how you doing today?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to say, I'd like to have a few words this evening just to express my sentiments. I would like to say congratulations to Dr. Minnis for extending the olive branch to Ms. Turner. You could love wins. all that man went through over the last 4 years, and all the daggers that they took and threw at this man, every one of his detractors fell right on their daggers. So I would just like to say, let's move on from here. And as far as the DNA being a relevant, they really put a dent in the FNM's winnings last time.
Yeah, I think they got like 8% or something.
A factor.
Yeah.
DNA will not be a factor because all of their supporters, just about all, how many of their former candidates are still in the DNA? Practically none. I listened to this gentleman on the Mr. McCartney on the radio the other day. And I mean, he's so full of himself. He needs to put away his cell phone and stop taking selfies because he's just so full of himself. And the DNA will not be a factor in the next election.
You do declare.
I tell you that. They brag about the 13,000 votes they got. I don't think they will get a third of that.
So what? You're telling me that the DNA has fallen off of that 8% that they had. Are you saying to me that that the DNA numbers have dwindled to the point where they may not be a factor in the upcoming elections?
No, Mr. McKinney. I listen to you and on our hard copy every Sunday before I go to Bible study. I rush and try to listen to you. If I miss half of it, I catch it later on. But I'll tell you what Kelsey usually say. They've been nipping at his heels. They have been plotting against him. They fell on their daggers, and look what happened. Love wins, Mr. McKinney. Love wins.
I can't argue with that.
When you dig a grave for someone, dig two.
Understood. I appreciate your call. Thank you kindly.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. She says love wins. And there are a lot of people who still have this sympathy for Dr. Minnis. Dr. Minnis has been one who comes off in a way that, not that you feel sorry for him, but that you look at all that he would have gone through and still held up under it. And there are some people who believe today that he's been through too much. Leave that man alone. You know how Bahamian people go. Their whole thing is this. You could talk fool as all you want, but when you start getting too much on the fella, they'll tell you back off now. Don't do that. He had enough, and now he still beat them, and so. Since you didn't get beaten and all that kind of stuff, you need to step in line, is what people like to say. And I just wondered if your views too may have been that he has been through a whole lot, and to prove himself twice in a couple of years, that's a little something to think about.
Well, Mr. McKinney, and again, thanks for the comments from the caller. Thank you for calling in and making those comments. But Mr. McKinney. People ask me when I'm on the ground in Golden Gates from time to time, tell me about your leader. And there are three things I always say. There's a lot more I could say. And I say other things from time to time, but there are three things I almost always say. And that is one, Dr. Minnis has interests of the Bahamian people at heart. I'm convinced of that. I've seen him, I've watched him over the last 4 years, and there's no question that he has the interests of the Bahamian people at heart. He wants to see all Bahamians do well in our Bahamas. The other thing is, he's a hard worker, and I think everyone says that about him. There's no question. Everyone says that. He is a hard worker. He put his shoulders to the wheel and get the job done. And something and people might not put a lot to or give it a lot of consideration or put more value on it at first glance is he believes in being on time. He believes in being on time. And you may say,
that's a big thing. All things considered. From
but it shows he values other people's time. And he's not gonna hold up the program, and the program's not about him. Whatever the program is, wherever it is, where it's going to church, where the church function, whatever it is, Dr. Minnis is always every time. If it's supposed to start at 8, he's there in the pew at 7:45, waiting for it to start. That's how he is. If we're catching a flight from the Family Islands, and I've traveled to many Family Islands with him. We're in the airport of Ayton. We are rarely ever running to catch a flight. No such thing. We're in the airport of Ayton.
I'll keep that in mind.
We're in the airport of Ayton.
I will keep that in mind because that's a telltale
it says a
sign
lot,
of the
and
fellow's character. There's no question.
And it says a lot about him.
Yeah.
And I don't want to leave right there. I want to say some more on this. Those are 3 things I normally say, but I want to share some other things with your listeners tonight, this evening. Dr. Minnis, let's remember, did not come up in politics, you know. He didn't come up in politics. Some of us came up in politics. We saw, ate, drank, was a part of politics every day, every month, every year. That was not his experience. Dr. Minnis only got involved in politics just before the 2007 general election. Politics was new to Dr. Minnis. And sometimes I think we lose sight of that, or we don't give it its full weight or full consideration. And so I say that to say, he's done quite well. He's done quite well in the circumstances. And remember, when he ran as a member of a team that ran in 2012, I don't think for one moment Dr. Minnis ever thought, following the results of the election in May 2012, that he would have been thrust into the position he was thrust into. I don't think for one moment that ever entered his mind. But that's where he found himself, as leader of the Free National Movement.
And he had to swim or sink.
Well, that's where he found himself.
Yeah.
And some might say, well, it's a good opportunity. But the reality of it is, he took up the mantle. He took the responsibility. That's what he did. And some might not know, but the party came out of the election with a debt of $1.2 million. And over the years, the ensuing 4 years, Dr. Minnis has brought that down to about $500,000, in spite of everything we've been going through, in spite of the conventions, in spite of all the other things this organization has been going through. And so that speaks a lot about Dr. Minnis, how focused he is on the job at hand, how he is cognizant at all times of what needs to be done and where we're going overall, the broad plan, the overall plan, which is victory in 2017. And he's always been focused on that. He's always been focused on that from day one.
How bad,
How
bad does he want to beat Christie in those?
He wants to win. He wants to rescue the Bahamas from them, to bring relief to the Bahamian people. That's what he wants to do. He wants to do that.
Hard copy, how are you?
Good evening, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Folks.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. McKinney, the policies of the FNM and the PLP over the last 30 years has gotten us to other people to where we are today. I, like many Bahamians, are just sick and tired of PLP and FNM. And to be honest, I would like to hear more from the DNA, the gatekeepers, the BCP, the BNCP, for those folks to let us know as to where they're going to take this country for future generations. Because we're being lied to, I feel, by both PLP and the FNM. But Mr. Folks talk about, one of the mandates of the FNM is to win. And I feel by those words, it mean they lie to me just to win. And my feelings is that I've never heard the FNM, none of the leaders of the FNM utter the word natural resource, especially the aragonite, because to most Bahamians, a lot of us are now feeling that this is the element, the resource that is going to take us to another level. So why is it that I've never heard the word natural resource, especially the aragonite, uttered out of the word of both leaders, Ms. Butler Turner and Mr. Minnis. Those words have never been uttered. And you talk about corruption. The BEC, the money's missing from the hospital on that memorandum of understanding. It seems as if it's silent on that. Please try to answer that.
Okay, I appreciate it. All right. What about those two things there? There's never been, so he says, the words uttered about aragonite and natural resources from either of the two persons at the forefront. Well, not so much Loretta Butler, but now Dr. Minnis. And then certainly he talks about this fact that there was another question. He said that he hasn't heard anything much on, and I wonder if you can perhaps give him your 5 cents on
Yes,
that.
thank you, Steve. Thank you, thank you, caller, for the very good questions. And I want to address the first issue he said first. And that is, he noted that I indicated that the Free National Movement, among other things, in our constitution, we exist as an organization to win elections because we believe that we are best at governing, and we believe we've delivered accordingly. But let me say this about that. It is interesting that the caller made that point in the way he did. Because, Steve, one of the worst things that happened in the 2012 general election was what the PLP caused in terms of the cynicism in this country today regarding politics and politicians. They have caused a great deal of cynicism and pessimism, particularly among our young people. And let me tell you why. We were coming out of the recession in 2012, slowly coming out of it in an anemic way in terms of the economy. And what did they do? They went to their rallies and they dangled 10,000 immediate jobs in the face of persons who were desperately in need of jobs. And they had no jobs to give them. None. Go back and check, Google it and check it. You will find they had many rallies where they got up and said 10,000 jobs immediately. They didn't say we're going to have 10,000 jobs throughout the term. They didn't say we'll have 10,000 jobs 2 years from now. They didn't say we'll have 10,000 jobs a year from now. They said to persons who were facing the worst economic times we have seen since the Great Depression in this country. And they dangled 10,000 immediate jobs in their faces. But they also dangle mortgage relief. The same people facing the worst economic times, just coming out of it. They dangle mortgage relief. I will help you, they said, save your home. And it was not so. It was not so at all. While people were actually being put out of their homes, families with children, and they dangle that in their faces because they believe them. Caused great cynicism and pessimism amongst our people, particularly our young people. They made murder an issue. They did that. They put billboards up 490 over 4 years. They put those up. The clear indication to the voter was, we will solve the murder problem. That is what they told the voters. 4 years in, there are now more murders than there was at the time when they did the billboards. You see why they have caused such cynicism and pessimism amongst our people, and why people are turned off by politicians and politics? Politics is still a good thing to be involved in. It is still a good thing for people who are in it for the right reason and for people who engage it in the right way. But he talks about how we say we in it to win. No, but we in to win for the right reasons. And that's the point I'm making.
Understood. All right. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thanks.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
You will be surprised to know who this is. And I'm very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
How you are defending the FNM.
Yeah.
I would say us.
Yes.
And what I have to say, give us a chance to do before. Tell Mr. McKinney, he's trying to make a little confused. Tell him we are doing good and the FNM.
Hey, right there, you can tell me.
Yeah, okay, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir.
You know me and I know you.
I know who you are.
You sure?
Of course.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
So, we are doing a good job and we are going to win. Because with prayers, because the PLP is doing a lot of foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have to save this country because we love it. I'm old now, but I'm still there trying to do my best because I have children and grandchildren. And I want to leave this place a good place.
Mm.
All of them, for all of you all.
Yes.
So you can't split it this way and split it. We all have to bind together
Yes.
and do the right thing.
Yes, Ms. Irma.
Everybody won't be leader. I say I get a little party. You say I get a little party. The other one, that ain't gonna help. We all have to sit down and get together, talk if we really love this, and talk and get together and see who are the best.
So you're saying, Irma, you appealing to me or what?
Huh?
You appealing to me, Irma?
Yes, I'm appealing to all good young people.
I understand.
Because I'm through in life.
Yes.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Tell my say, but I want to leave this place a good place.
Yeah.
Because I have
It is
family,
important.
so I'm
It is
therefore
important.
looking for
It is
the best.
important. All of us want to make sure this place is a little bit better.
Yes.
And we're not pleased with a lot of things. I would give you that. We're not pleased with a lot of things, and we have to
I had
do our
people
best to
into
change
my
some
house
things.
one night at 1 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
Into my head, 2 young fellas.
My Lord.
You know that way?
Yeah.
And so I don't want that to continue to happen.
Yeah.
So instead of us trying to run this one down, let's get together. You're all young, you're all educated. Get together and talk
Yes, ma'am.
and make this thing work.
I appreciate it.
Get work and and doing the right thing before I go across the Jordan.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you, Irma.
Okay.
All the best now.
Thank you, Irma.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. Hard copy. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I'm
Good
talking with
afternoon.
Michael Folks today, and Michael Folks is giving me all kinds of stuff here today. I'm
All right, here calling from Freeport. Just wanted to let Mr. Folks know. Steve, before I get into that, though, everybody seems to have this interlock on God, like they have him on lock and put this thing to him, and they say, we decree and we declare, and God makes it happen.
Yeah.
But you know what we used to say in Bethel Baptist: faith without works is dead.
Is dead. Yeah.
And if you don't walk these streets and hear what these lying people got to say to you, ain't nothing gonna happen. I just want to make the report for Mr. Folks that Grand Bahama will deliver. We ain't too sure about where I said because you know how they go. But Grand Bahama will deliver for the FNM. We're doing great things down here.
Excellent.
People
Excellent.
still sleeping in cars. Obi used to talk about that years ago. They ain't stopped sleeping in cars yet. Mortgage relief, we still need that to happen. But, we are working. We're trying to make some things happen on the ground here. And I just want to encourage the leader and those that support the Free National Movement to just keep on doing what you're doing. And Steve, you know what? There's always room for you, You got one seat waiting for you.
Well, I got one seat waiting for me, too.
Coming out front pew in battle, That's always reserved for you.
The front pew. I appreciate it.
Say, man.
Well, we'll see what happens, my friend. All the best.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Great. Hard copy. How are you?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Very good. Thanks.
Good afternoon to Michael as well.
Good afternoon.
I'm calling because I heard somebody say earlier about they've never heard Dr. Minnis speak about
Yeah. That I was looking at my thing, and I know that's not so. Yeah, I have it.
Yes, so
Yeah.
I am just calling because I am a business person totally involved in souvenir manufacturing in the Bahamas. And I fully support Dr. Minnis, who fully supports what I'm doing. And the plans that he has on the table for this country and for those persons who are involved in the craft industry, the cultural industry, they are grand. And I invite people not to talk off the top of their head, but to listen, to read, because Dr. Minnis has grand plans for those of us who are involved in these types of industry.
Understood.
And we have been asking for it for so many years that we want a new type of leader. And I am going to tell the Bahamas that Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis is that different kind of leader. And he is looking to see how he can, how everybody can become wealthy just from our natural resources. And it's not just the aragonite. There are so many things. It's just the coconut trees outside. You can make money from those. And Bahamians just need to listen, to even bring their ideas to the table, because there are so many, and Bahamian people are so creative and ideas to the table as well. And I believe we as a country, we as a people, will be the richer for it. Dr. Minnis believes in the creative, the natural resources, enriching Bahamians.
I appreciate your sentiments, and I thank you very much for your call, because yes, there are a lot of things that he did talk about. He did talk about some things that's going to happen in the inner city and some things that's going to happen as far as grassroots Bahamians are concerned. In fact, he spoke to those two matters at the recent convention, and it went something like this.
We'll plan, prioritize, and spend smartly to improve our quality of life. We'll get to work transforming our inner city, because it's a disgrace. Too many over-the-hill families live without lights, water, and inside toilets. That can't be right. But we will change this. Delegates, our people deserve to live in dignity. If we are to change lives, we must first by changing our environment. An FNM administration will create inner city tax-free economic zones in impoverished areas, Bain and Grantstown, Farm Road, Angliston, and elsewhere. These will result in stimulation of the economies, attract investments, and create jobs. Our program will involve both residential and commercial components. Our vision is to revitalize such areas by providing Bahamians with exemptions from the payment of customs duty on real property tax, customs duty, exemption of real property tax, business license, and all such taxes. In our continuing effort to deepening and strengthen our democracy, we will bring elected local government at long last to the resident of New Providence, giving them a say in the governance of their daily affairs.
That's quite interesting, that local government bit. Nobody wants to touch that as far as the central government is concerned under this particular administration. That may be too much power to give to some people, and that is empowerment of the people. And of course, he has gone there. He has said this is what they will do.
Well, you know, Steve, that's very interesting, because local government was something that was promised before 1967, Steve.
Yes, sir.
It was promised before 1967. It was one of those original planks in the platform of the then Progressive Liberal Party.
You remember?
But it was brought by the Free National Movement. The Free National Movement brought local government in the Family Islands. And it was always our intention to expand it here to New Providence. And what Dr. Minnis is saying, that's going to be on the top of the agenda in this new term. And this is another one of those things, along with some of the other ones I mentioned, where we're going to govern differently and expand and deepen the democracy for everybody and give people more accountability in their own local affairs.
So who's saying that he's not saying some things that may be resonating with people?
That's exactly my point.
Hard copy. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Hi there, ma'am. Sir.
My good friend, Michael Fuchs.
Good afternoon.
I just wish to say that the convention is over and the people have spoken loudly and clearly, notwithstanding his many detractors in and out of the party. And in particular, the news and social media, Dr. Minnis has stood tall and continues to do so. The call has gone out to all FNMs to join hands to wrest the government from the PLP. And with his plans for the country going forward, keeping with his new vision, I am of the view that he will succeed. We shall see some new faces who believe in the vision and the plans enunciated for the entire Bahamas. Along with Michael, I will be rocking with Doc.
Thank you, Mr. Munnings.
I hear you, sir. I appreciate your call.
With Doc, I've been rocking with Doc from 2012 and will continue to do so.
So you think that Doc has what it takes now to amalgamate everyone, bring all fractions together, and to move forward.
Doc has what it takes. You know why he has what it takes?
Mm-hmm.
And all the demonizing that all and sundry tried to do with the Doc,
Mm-hmm.
he never answered one of them. It takes a great man not to answer your detractors when they're beating you up every day.
Mm-hmm.
He never answers them. He's just moved forward. He's done his work. And there was little wonder that he was so well received at the recent convention.
So you think that they've now laid down their weapons of war and they ain't gonna study war no more?
Well, in my view, I think National Review and Front Porch
Mm-hmm.
have been particularly offensive, and I think a lot of people were taking their lead from them.
Mm-hmm.
But now that Doc has won again,
Mm-hmm.
I think they will go quietly. At least I hope they will go quietly.
I understand.
Doc is ready, and Doc will become, God willing, the next Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
I hear you. I appreciate your call.
You're welcome, sir.
Well, I don't know if
you
Christie's
so
going to take too kindly to that. Did you say the next Prime Minister of the Bahamas?
Well, absolutely.
This is Christie's area of expertise.
What's that, oratory skills?
no, this area of expertise. He would think so. He would think so that is off limits. But I suppose that's only off limits in his party to be prime minister, because in his party, and you've got to pay some attention to that before I let you go today. It seems as if Alfred Sayers is doing some things that has caused a little shakeup in the body politic of the PLP. And I spoke with Alfred Sayers today, just so that you would know.
Yes.
And I confirmed from Alfred Sayers today that he is absolutely serious about what he's doing. He heard my show yesterday, and he heard people call, and they were talking about how, well, this is a scam, man. This ain't no real thing. This can't be for real. We don't think that this is going to be. Alfred says, I spoke with him this morning.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I'm reporting to you now that he tells me this is absolutely real, that he has absolutely taken on Perry Gladstone Christie and the PLP, and he is looking to win. In fact, he is confident that he's going to win. How about that for size? And so I only bring that to you because really you could be tackling and battling something else after November.
Well, I do not doubt for one moment that Alfred Sayers means what he says. I do not doubt that.
You never bought this thing about he's just joking.
No, I don't think that's Alfred Sayers what I know of him. No,
exactly.
No,
my sentiments exactly.
Not what I know about
Mhm.
Mr. Sayers, and I know Mr. Sayers, from the profession, and otherwise, and so I think what Alfred Sayers said is what he meant, that he's in it, and he's in it to the end.
He's in it to win it.
He's in it to the end. Yeah, he's in it to the end, and but it's interesting to note. And it kind of reminds me of the tape you played earlier. I didn't say this part earlier, but it reminds me of the tape you played earlier with the former Prime Minister, Hubert Ingram, talking about the PLP and how they operate. It's amazing because here it is. He's come out, and no sooner than Mr. Sayers has come out and indicated his interest in running, you have quite a number of cabinet ministers saying, I think you better sit down and have a seat, have a seat. Sit down.
You mean Alfred?
Yeah. That's what they've pretty much said. This is not your time, and you're not going anywhere. The campaign's not going anywhere, and in some way, this is exactly what Prime Minister Ingram said, and former Prime Minister said, in the first in
the first soundbite.
In the first soundbite, that's exactly what he said. Knowing how they operate, it's going to be Christie at the end of the day, and basically, the first challenge out of the gate, what is he doing? By the people who sit around the table, it's Christie at the end of the day. But from what I know of Mr. Sayers, I fully expect that he's going to engage the process, and he will take it to his conclusion.
And that may be a logical conclusion of something that will cast the Prime Minister, as we know him today, outside on the. Can we imagine that? Can we imagine that for a minute? That Perry Gladstone Christie will not be Prime Minister when Sayers takes him on, and Sayers may in fact
beat him. Do you think that people can imagine that, or you think that's a little bit beyond?
Yeah.
I was reading Nikki Kelly's column this morning. Nikki Kelly said in her column this morning that what Sayers them may be doing is, she calls it a very clever plan, I think of her words, to have Sayers go inside there, since he's espoused views about not following the monarchy, the monarchy, that he may be thinking and having some kind of fantasies about a republic, and in doing so with the republic, that he may in fact be looking along the lines that if Christie don't want to go, maybe they ought to tie him into a president of the Bahamas, and we go republic. And she went on about this whole thing that's a scene that can actually be played out, given the right tools in the convention, that says is not a sitting member of parliament. And so if he even is to somehow become victorious and beat Christie will still be prime minister while he'll be leader of the party. And then Christie will be prime minister going into an election campaign. And then maybe the whole idea will be, based upon her scenario, that says will eventually engage as the prime minister later on, perhaps even midway through the term of Perry Glaston Christie. And so he may just end up being held by the court of his own sins, end up being the bridge to the future by actually having Sayers come along and eventually take the reins of power from him. That's just a scenario that has been played out in one columnist, Nikki Kelly, who's been looking at what this could mean as far as Sayers taking on Christie, what this could mean. But I suppose in the body politic of the thing, Mr. Sayers will have an uphill battle, and Christie will in fact still be prime minister. But they use words to each other, that they have been talking about the constitutionality of their party, and Sayers went to great lengths to talk about what the rules of engagements are, and Christie also went to great lengths about the rules of engagement as it relates to their constitution and what the rules are. And so there's a lot inside that to be read, if we can get a chance to dissect it. There's a lot to be read into that as to what they both may mean. Right. And but the biggest scenario to me is that Sayers will be able to come on, if he wins, and become the leader of that party, but not the prime minister of that party. And when they go into election, Christie will lead them into election, and then Sayers will perhaps take over afterward. But I don't know.
Well, Mr. McKinney, it seems to me that one of the greatest hurdles that Mr. Sayers is going to face is the many cabinet colleagues who are likely to line up behind the current prime minister.
Yeah, they have not lined up behind
and the
him.
numerous stalwart councillors.
4,000
exactly, and so
counting.
So those are some of the realities, and the other thing is historically the PLP has not been as dynamic as the FNM in that regard, in terms of leadership and leadership challenges and that sort of thing. We've been a lot more dynamic in that regard. The PLP has been less so.
So more overall, you all may have the last laugh on this thing, even though some people say, boy, that convention what they had, that was a jokey thing, boy, they melt down, boy, look at that. This has happened at a good time, because by the time is you were able to mount a campaign and get into the real crux of the matter, this may be far behind you, and you may have sweet amalgamation. I mean, just a sweet old time just going into the election. I wish you that. I wish you that best of luck.
And we don't know, frankly, if anybody else is going to get into the race with the PLP. Right now, we know it's Alfred Sayers. We don't know it's going to be anybody else.
Oh, they won't. They won't move. They won't move. The ones who could declare have already declared. Obi Wolfscombe, this morning in the newspapers, he says, oh, he can't win, can't be Christie. And then, of course, Jerome Fitzgerald has already made some statements along the lines. BJ Nottage is not in the game, and Brave Davis will not say anything. In fact, Brave Davis perhaps got so many things that is happening for him in the actual politics of things that, he's not going to rumple any feathers. I don't see Brave Davis doing that at all. I'd be very surprised if he does that.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And you're quite correct. One good thing about where we are is we have ours behind us. And we can look forward to doing the things I spoke about earlier, the mending fences and bringing the party together stronger and ready to contest the general election and preparing for the general election, naming candidates and that sort of thing, completing our slate of candidates, doing that sort of work.
Final call. Hard copy. How are you?
Hey, good evening, Steve. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Great, thanks. Michael, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great. Good evening, Bahamas. Michael, you're doing an outstanding job supporting the party's position platform. My main reason for calling is that gentleman who's from Andros, who's constantly calling these talk shows. Tell the lady he needs to put a muzzle on this guy because he's doing more harm to the party than good. If he's not calling these talk shows to promote the platform of the Free National Movement without having to demonize anybody in the Free National Movement, then he can call. But if he's about to do that stuff, he needs to stop because we're trying to win the government, and this guy is doing more harm than good. When these reporters put a microphone in your mouth, those guys interested in the very next soundbite. The other reporters are interested in headlines. The newspapers, they're interested in headlines. So we got to be clever. We came out of the convention as Dr. Minas as the leader. That's what it is. He doesn't have to say anything about other persons in the party or who did what. He just needs to keep his mouth closed. And this is your friend Killer from GHS.
I appreciate your call, but this is basically a democracy, and so if the fella wants to call and say what he has to say, we can't deny him. We're an equal opportunity provider. You just have to be able to, to wade through what is being said, and there's some things that are crazy talk, and some things that don't make sense, and then there's some things that make a lot of sense, and that people will want to, take a look and see what it really means. Overall, though, it seems as if the Free National Movement has been able to maneuver in a way to hold off those many detractors. They've had enough problems, and I believe a lot of the people in the body politic of the Free National Movement have decided to just rest and wait a while and to wait and see. In fact, I spoke with Dwayne Sands earlier in the week, and I called him. He was just getting back from somewhere in the world, and he said that he'd been getting a little rest and relaxation, and he says that he doesn't want to talk anything about anything now. He's going to just have a cooling off period and take a look at things and get a new perspective and see how he can, come back all re-energized and charge up to try to do his thing. And Loretta Butler Turner, I know that she has been making some statements, and she's already made the ultimate statement that, really she wants to see amalgamation. She wants to see everybody throw their support behind Minas. She's had a change of heart. Some people have gotten down on her case on that and have really, looked at her with the jaundiced eyes like, what is that you're saying? But the point is, she knows full well when to move on, because that is one of the attributes of a great leader. And I am saying that because a great leader knows when you have been defeated that you've got to go and go away and come back if you want to live to see another day. And so it may mean that she still have ambition to do any number of things. This should not minimize her ambition and all that. But the thing is, she knows that that battle there has been lost, that she have to fight another day, live to fight another day. And so right now, her thing is to jump in line and, do what she can do. And I believe that all of Richard Lightburn and even Nico Grant may, in fact, jump in line and do their thing. Unless they've been so rubbed the wrong way, that there's no easy fix in doing that. But I do hope that just for the sake of opposition politics, just for the sake of having something to fall back on, if in fact other things don't work out in the best interest of the people, that this will be the way to go, to be optimistic, because Perry Glaston Christie and the Free National and the PLP, it's a hard pill to swallow by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to the overall picture. This country's in bad shape, Mr. Folks.
It sure is.
This country is in bad shape. The kind of corruption that's going on in this Bahamas today is sickening. It will bring one to tears. The kind of things that are happening, and it's all across. It's all around, and somebody has got to rescue this country.
Absolutely,
got to rescue it.
Absolutely.
And I prefer the gatekeepers rescue the country, but if somehow it is worked out to the point where it is the Free National Movement who must rescue the country, then the fact of the matter is that the country must be rescued.
Absolutely.
You can't have this thing going on the way it's going on.
There are 2 ways
the
about
country
it.
must be rescued, and we're looking forward to that. But any final words you want to tell me today?
As I said earlier, we are in that process of unifying the party. Dr. Minnis is in that process of unifying this party, and we fully anticipate and expect that we will have a unified party, and we will continue to mend fences where needed and do the work of unifying the party. Because, as you just said, and I have said throughout this interview today, that we really do need to rescue this country from the Progressive Liberal Party. There's absolutely no question about it. That needs to happen. And we say it's 8 months away. A day away is too long.
Let me ask you one final question, Michael. Golden Gates, you got that on lockdown?
We are working. We're working hard in Golden Gates. We've been very well received in Golden Gates. And we getting a very good response from the people in Golden Gates. We feel very good about Golden Gates. By the grace of God and the will of the voters, we will be successful.
Your first time in Golden Gates running down there?
First time running anywhere.
You've always been inside the FNM, inside the internal happenings of the FNM.
Yeah.
But you've now decided to go out there and do what your father and what your brother did and what your brother-in-law Carl did, and you decided down to go and swim.
That's right. That's
swim
right.
or sink.
Yeah. I've been Secretary General now for 7 years. 7 years now. And I've had done some work in the past in Golden Gates. I've been campaign manager there for 2 candidates in the past.
So you know where to go.
So I'm not unfamiliar with Golden Gates.
You know how to move around.
Yes. Some of the people in Golden Gates know me before knew me before I went there. Yeah, that's a candidate. But the people in Golden Gates are struggling too, as we speak about many others throughout the country. It's a struggle there too. I know quite a number of persons tonight as we speak whose electricity is off right now as we speak. These are tough times for a lot of people. People who can't put food on the table in Golden Gates. We think it's only in the inner city, but it's not only in the inner city. It's not only in the city. It's areas like Golden Gates. I'm told it's even areas out west and out east. It's not only the Golden Gates or other areas in the south or southwest or the southeast. People are struggling all around, Mr. McKinney, everywhere. People are struggling. It's a struggle. It's a daily struggle for a lot of people. It's a daily struggle.
Well, I hope that when you all put out your platform, we will be able to see things that will deal with energy, that will deal with the high cost of electricity, that will deal with a number of things that the people need relief from.
That's right.
The mortgage relief, finding a way to hold back these banks and to make them not do the kinds of things that they've been doing without even any. I mean, the amount of people who are losing their homes in this country is absolutely phenomenal. And all we're doing here is sitting down saying, boy, that's terrible. We've got to do something about it.
No, I tell you, I practice law and I was representing a client, and the most I can do, I was able to do. She came to see me very late in the process, and probably not much I could have done anyway, having regard to the way things were. She just didn't have the money to pay the mortgage. The most I was able to do to buy her some time in the home. But basically, that was it. And so these are real issues for people. There's no question. People are actually losing their homes.
Mm-hmm.
People are taking their children out of the private schools and put them in the government schools because they can't afford the private schools anymore. And some of the government schools now are really getting overcrowded too because of that. So it's causing a lot of social displacement.
But you know, the PLP will be telling you that it ain't so. In fact, I saw some announcement today about how something has gone down 7%. How the central bank is saying this is a good thing on an upswing, all kinds of stuff. I mean, you know, and one would say, really? I mean, are you saying this kind of stuff now to people in this country when in fact we really know the reality?
We live it every day, but you want to tell us something else. Well, you know, that's that cynicism I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's that cynicism.
Anyway, well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for being a part of the show today. And certainly we hope that all things work out in your best interest as far as going out there and trying your hand and trying to get into the win column and working with Dr. Minnis and the others to try to bring about a lean, mean opposition machine. So that these guys don't get away with too much.
Yeah.
You see, we can say a lot of things on talk radio, and we do.
Yes, you do.
But sometimes it is best to be said by those in the opposition, especially Her Majesty's loyal opposition, who can really give it the kind of power punch that it needs. And so I'm hoping that we can see a pickup of issues that are being discussed in the body politic of the country.
And I want to thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank the voters of Golden Gates in particular for listening in tonight. And I wish them all well. And I wish the Bahamas well. And God bless us, everyone.
Wonderful. Let's go home, Nathan, old boy. Sounds like my music. And today's show has been brought to you by the folks who make it happen. And that's a play on word. Never mind the pun. The folks who make it happen. And really, they are Bahamian Brewery and Beverages, Cybertech Career College, Commonwealth Bank, Ministry of Tourism. Travel the islands this summer. Galena Insurance for comprehensive coverage. Super Wash. You can wash, eat, and relax at Super Wash. Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions. Super Value, the all Bahamian supermarkets. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue. Ron's Electric Motors. Take it to Ron. He can fix anything. Sky Bahamas, professionals in every way, every day. Galena Financial Advisors Limited, executive printers on Jerome Avenue. Henry F. Store, Buddy's Wings and Greens on Fox Hill Road. Janae's Fashions for back to school. McKinney Media Group for the best results in public relations and advertisement. And tomorrow on the show, we're going to have One House and Lutri come my way. And of course, we're going to talk with him. There's something interesting that he had to say about Brand McCartney and company, and I want Brand to pay attention to that tomorrow. I'm going to play it tomorrow. He said something along the lines of, boy, some people doing some work for the governing party, and that's how certain situations are being handled. And I thought that was a real unbelievable statement by House and Lutri. So tomorrow, listen in, call me, because we've got the goods tomorrow at Hard Copy. 5 o'clock, we'll see you then.
This is Peace Radio After Dark.
A star